Victor Vance stood backstage at the Majestic Theater in St. Louis, Missouri, listening to the thundering applause. He grinned, straightened the lapels of his sequin purple jacket, the one that sparkled just right under the stage lights. He could feel the electric buzz of the crowd for the curtain. They loved him, adored him even. They came from all corners of the city to witness the impossible, to see him defy reality. It was all smoke and mirrors. For over 20 years, Victor had been St. Louis's premier illusionist. His posters plastered every street corner, his name headlined in bold, the amazing Victor Vance, master of the impossible. Yet despite his soaring popularity, the truth was simple. Victor Vance was a fraud. There was no magic in his act, only tricks of the trade, sleight of hand, and meticulous misdirection. But tonight was special. It marked the 100th performance of his career-defining show, Beyond Belief. The house was sold out, and the mayor himself sat in the front row. Everything had to be perfect. Victor's assistant, Ella, poked her head around the corner. 5 minutes, boss. Ready to blow their minds? Victor winked. You know it. They'll be talking about this night for years. He always said that, but tonight he meant it. The final act was his most ambitious yet. A death-defying escape from a water tank while handcuffed and blindfolded. It was a trick that had catapulted Houdini to fame. Victor had perfected his version, adding his signature flair. It was flawless, or so he thought. The first half of the show went off without a hitch. Victor dazzled the audience with levitation, sawing Ella in half, and pulling doves out of thin air. His charisma was intoxicating. He flirted with the crowd, teased the children in the front rows, and made a silver dollar dance across his knuckles before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Each trick was polished, each routine perfectly timed. But the grand finale loomed. An annoying unease coiled in his gut. He had performed the water tank escape dozens of times, but tonight felt different. Maybe it was the mayor's scrutinizing gaze, or the reporter from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch jotting down every move. Victor took a deep breath, stepping into the spotlight as the stagehands wheeled out the glass tank, filled to the brim with shimmering water. It stood ominously at center stage, its surface reflecting the glare of the overhead lights. The audience murmured in anticipation. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor's voice boomed for the theater. For my final illusion tonight, I will defy death itself. Bound in steel cuffs, blindfolded, and submerged in this tank of water, I will escape, or drown trying. A dramatic gasp rippled through the audience. He relished their fear, their awe. They wanted to believe in the impossible, and he was more than happy to oblige. Ella stepped forward, a practiced look of concern on her face. Are you sure, Victor? No one's ever escaped these cuffs before. Victor grinned, raising his wrists. No one but me. The cuffs were real, solid steel, no hidden hinges. The key, however, was tucked in the sleeve of his jacket, easily accessible with the right twist of his wrist. It was the kind of detail only a true professional would master. The blindfold came next, wrapped tight over his eyes. Then, to heighten the drama, Ella produced a length of rope and tied his ankles together. Another flourish, another illusion. The rope was gimmicked, easily loosened with a firm tug. 2 stagehands helped him into the tank, water rushing up around him as he sank beneath the surface. The lid slammed shut. The padlock clicked into place. The countdown began. 60 seconds. Victor took a steadying breath for the hidden air pocket in the tank. He twisted his wrist, reaching for the key, but it wasn't there. His heart skipped. He tried again, fingers fumbling against the fabric of his sleeve. Nothing. Panic shot through him, cold as the water that surrounded him. The key had slipped. 40 seconds. Ella's face was a mask of professionalism, her smile unwavering, but her eyes were wide with fear. She knew something was wrong. Victor tugged at the cuffs. They held firm, digging into his wrists. He tried to twist his arms, angling for the hidden latch, but the water made every movement sluggish. Every second felt like an eternity. 30 seconds. His chest tightened. He could hear the blood rushing in his ears, his lungs burning. He tried to remember the backup plan. Every trick had a contingency, every escape a failsafe, but his mind went blank, panic smothering logic. 20 seconds. He thrashed, legs kicking against the glass. The audience gasped, some rising from their seats. Ella's face paled, her hands wringing nervously. 10 seconds. The water was suffocating, pressing in on all sides. His lungs screamed, his body fighting the urge to inhale. This was it. This was how he died, exposed as a fraud, drowning in his own illusion. 5 seconds. In a final desperate act, Victor did the only thing he could. He stopped fighting. He went limp, his body floating motionless in the water. The crowd screamed. Ella rushed forward, frantically unlocking the tank. The lid flew open, water gushing out as Victor's body spilled onto the stage. He lay there, eyes closed, unmoving. Silence fell, the audience frozen in horror. Then, with dramatic flair, Victor's chest heaved. He coughed, sputtering water, then opened his eyes and gasped. That was a close one. The theater erupted in applause, deafening and wild. Ella helped him to his feet, her hands trembling. He shot her a wink, his legs barely supporting him. He took his bow, the spotlight blinding. They bought it. They thought it was part of the act. A daring escape that cut too close. A near-death experience that made his magic real. Only Victor knew the truth. He'd nearly died. His illusion had failed. As the curtain fell, his heart still pounded, but the applause roared on, the audience chanting his name. Victor Vance, the greatest magician they'd ever seen, and the biggest fraud in St. Louis. He staggered backstage, Ella at his side. "What happened out there?" she whispered, eyes wide. He forced a laugh. Just another day at the office. But he knew they'd never do that trick again. Not because it was too dangerous, but because for one terrifying moment, the magic had been real. Thanks for joining us for Fireside Stories. If you want even more stories, remember before you leave to like and subscribe. And we'll see you the next time that we all gather around the fire